Welcome to Channel Genocide. Everything on my channel is going to be about genocide. I'm not going to talk about anything else. So let's get into some of the definitions of genocide. The objectives of genocide of a plan would be the disintegration of life, political, and social institutions, of culture, language, national feelings, religion, and the economic existence of national groups, and the destruction of personal security, property, liberty, health, dignity, even the lives of the individuals belonging to such groups. So that means the people that are committing the genocide are going to have the genocide happen to them as well, which is going on in the States. Another definition: against the populations of certain occupied territories in order to destroy particular races and classes of people and national, racist, or religious groups, particularly the poor people of the United States. Genocide is the denial of the existence of entire human groups, as a homicide is the denial of the right of an individual human being. Such denial of the right of existence shocks the consciousness of mankind, is contrary to moral law and the spirit and aims of the United Nations. Genocide is the deliberate destruction of physical life of individual human beings by their memberships of any collectivity as such. So those are some basic definitions that you heard there. And I'm not going to be pointing the finger outwardly on this genocide show. I'm going to be showing you how I have been inflicted with genocide myself. So let's see. I'll start off with being sexually abused. This is a legal document that you're looking at. And it says, Bradley were in sleeping bags in the living room, as I understand it. Have you ever accused Elwood of homosexual activities with his son? I have said I didn't want Elwood to sleep with his son instead of with me, which is what he had started to do. This is a legal document you're looking at. This is the fucking justice of the legal system in the United States. Right now, do you think Bradley does say that he does sleep with Elwood at the apartment? What's the strongest thing you have to say in that vein? Tell Bradley to go back to his own bed and let him sleep in his own bedroom. So this was basically in a court battle where it came up about me being sexually molested. If you can see, this is a certified copy. This is a legal record here, where my mom brings up me being molested by my father being sexually abused, which in fact he did sexually abuse me, and he got away with it. He's basically a bisexual sexual psychopath because he molested some other people in our neighborhood too. And this is what happened to we had housekeepers, and yes, Miss March, I guess, this is another legal document. I guess the last day or two, she was lying in bed in the basement bedroom, catatonic, and I couldn't get her finally out. So, mysteriously, our housekeeper was all drugged up and catatonic. I'll get into that a little bit later. This is in the legal document here. Let's look at another page. Okay, this is where you can be the ultimate pedophile and child molester, is when you're in this position. This is his job description in the court of law. I have had training. I have had training in child psychiatry. I have worked with and have been consultant to the juvenile court. I have been a consultant to orthopedic hospital, Department of Psychiatry, and clinical assistant professor in psychiatry to the university. I teach to the Department of Psychiatry. I was the acting director of the clinic of which I was the Department of Child Psychology for 2 years. So that shows you his credentials. That's what made him the perfect pedophile and get away with it, because he was hooked in with the court and he was able to pull it off. And so I don't know how many kids that he molested besides me, but he was a child psychiatrist, as funny as it is. Now, you're probably thinking, you know, that's amazing, isn't it, that this guy didn't go to jail for the rest of his life or get castrated or anything? Now, these are newspaper clippings. This is how he molested me. This is basically what he did. If you look at here, you see $75,000 awarded in malpractice case. A variety of medications, including Valium, Ritalin, Dexedrine, Librium, while under Dr. Jones's care. A 31-year-old man who said his psychiatrist turned him into a drug addict and put him through 2 years of sheer horror. Okay. So anyways, this is where my adoptive father actually got sued for getting somebody addicted to drugs, which he put me on drugs since I was a little kid because I didn't resist being molested. I was easier to molest when I was doped up on drugs, and it was so bad that I went to the neighbor's house and ate their food because everything he gave me was doped up. Okay, so anyways, this is when I notified the state of Washington that he was a pedophile and so forth, and I told them that this guy shouldn't be practicing medicine and that he molested me and all that stuff. And this is a copy of my part of the registered letter that I sent to the state of Washington. They say, "Thank you for your recent expressed concern regarding Elwood L. Jones. Your report has been signed in case number blah, blah, blah. This case will be investigated and see if a violation of Uniform Disciplinary Act, blah, 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 has occurred and additional information pertaining to this case." So I let the state know that I was being molested, and I did it mainly to protect other kids that he was abusing. So what I did on my own was I looked up medical records. You can see right here, Bradley C. Jones, I want the release of my medical records and so forth. I put my social security number on there to get release of my personal medical records. And then I guess this is one of the letters I sent him. It says specifically, I, Bradley C. Jones, am requesting your legal services. I need you to legally help me prosecute my adoptive father, Elvin Jones, for the following reasons. 1, he sexually molested me. 2, he gave me Valium, Percodan, Demerol, Quaalude 7, 14, 7, 12s, and other addictive tranquilizers and narcotics since age 3. He sexually molested other people and gave them addictive narcotics as well. The murder of Mrs. Birkeland, who is his patient, who had sexual relations with him, who drowned off his houseboat on 1214 East Hamlin while under the influence of his drugs. Allowing and participating in the physical abuse and emotional abuse inflicted on me and my adoptive mother, Vilma Jean Jones. Infecting me with hepatitis C. He was an alcoholic and drug addict who had overdosed, and I had legal records of that as well. Denying all forms of abuse he has inflicted on me, denying most forms of medical treatment for the abuse that he has inflicted me, and not complying with the divorce agreement regarding my colleague's education, and a lot more reasons that involve other people. So I sent that puppy off to the state of Washington too. This is Harborview Medical Center. Now, what happened was at 25 years of age, I was working a lot of overtime at this job, and I started having flashbacks of being sexually molested. I repressed it. I had post-traumatic stress disorder, so I forgot about the sexual abuse until I was about 25. Anyways, I went to Harborview Hospital, and I had a mental breakdown, and I told him that I was having visions of being sexually abused by my father, and I started having memories of being sexually abused by my father and different sexual positions that he had me in when he was having sex with me, and that he doped me up on drugs and was molesting me. So they admitted me into their ward, and then eventually, after about a week, this woman came out and she said that we know Dr. Jones and he would never ever abuse anybody, and he's worked for us and he's been a good employee, and she stuck up for him and everything. So I knew basically my possibility of me getting help at that institution were zero because he worked there. And he was really well connected, as I described in his resume of his experience. He was a really well-connected doctor, so he was able to, he was like a psychopath. Like out publicly, you'd see him one way, and then when you got alone with him, he was a completely different person if you were a young boy or girl. So anyways, I gave this note to Harborview, the same hospital. I said, it says, we have received your request for release of information. Unfortunately, we are unable to honor this request for the following reasons. The information that you have requested is not in the patient record. Okay, so I just imagined that I was in that mental hospital for a week. That really didn't occur. And when my dad visited me there at the hospital, and 12 psychiatrists were seeing us at the hospital, that didn't occur, because they're saying right there, when I requested the medical record, that they did have it, that it did not exist. Now that's in genocide. That's what you have, is you have denial. The abusers and stuff, and the people that are committing the genocide on the population deny it, like they do the American population by brainwashing them with the media. But I'm going to keep it just on my own personal genocide right now. And so I'm running to the end of this segment, but I'm going to continue on the abuse.